please elaborate why we know the answer before we even ask a question? Where on the ladder of ascent can we dispense with the questions? Anywhere in the lower physical, astral, or mental planes, or above these only?
Please elaborate why we know the answers before we even ask a question. Where on the ladder of ascent can we dispense with the questions? Anywhere in the lower physical, astral, or mental planes, or above those only? Answer to this question is that before we can ask a question, we know the answer. Otherwise, you cannot make the question. You can't make a question with no ground to it. Where does the question come from? Examine closely, because this is something people do not ordinarily realize, that if you had no answer, you would not be able to put that question. When I answer, you don't say, well, that's a good answer. You say, oh, that's what I wanted to. That's what I knew. Most of the time, when we hear an answer, we say, yeah, that's right. Supposing I gave a totally unrelated answer, you say, that's not the answer. That means you know what the answer is. Otherwise, how can you say which is the correct answer, which is not? So that is why we have so much stuff hidden in us, so much stuff not pulled into our awareness. And that stuff is hidden at the physical level. And at the physical level, that means when we are the physical body with physical awareness, but it's operating from the mental level in what they call the conscious and subconscious or unconscious mind. The unconscious mind keeps everything buried in it, all your questions and answers, even questions and answers from previous lives. They come with the mind into this life. So it is from there that you are urging to ask a clarification on something that is known there, but not brought into an awareness. So when the answer is given, you feel that you already knew. When the answer is given to your question, you feel the answer was already known to you. And that's the reason why you ask a question, because you know the answer, and that is why you feel it's not necessary to ask a question. So many people have come to me with a long list of questions. And when they sit there, they sit and chat, oh, I have questions also. And they forget it. Once a man who does not speak English, who came those experiences, is not full. It is reduced because of the covers upon us. And that's why when we ascend there, we can see them in purity as they are. Here we see them covered, so they are a little dull. We don't see them fully. Once a person wanted to know, please describe in physical terms how this works. You say stillness is inside, stillness of mind, stillness of spirit, that is what will give you everything. What is the stillness for? So the example given was, supposing the moon is shining up in the sky, and the reflection of the moon is falling upon a mirror that folds like this, that moves like this. And that mirror moves like this, and its reflection falls in the water in the pool. Now when the mirror moves, the person looking only at the water says, the moon is moving. The moon is not moving, but he's not looking up, he's looking at the water down below. When the water is stirred, he said, moon is broken up into pieces. And if you stir it enough to bring the dirt up, oh, moon has gone away, it disappeared. But the moon is moving because of the mirror. The stirring is being done to break it up, and the original moon remains still and intact. What does it mean? The original moon is our own consciousness, our soul. The mirror is the mind. It's the mirror that moves things. There's nothing moving in the soul. The mirror moves. The stirring of the water, the waves and ripples are our sense perceptions, which divide everything into different senses. And when we have the complete mud coming up, that's like a body with no awareness what's going on. That's where we are. So how do we do it? Let the dust settle, let the mud settle. We'll be able to see the moon. Let the stirring stop. Still the water, not the moon. Nothing to do with the moon. It will stop moving the mind here and there all over, keep it concentrated at one place, and you will see the full moon. You will see the glory of your own self, of your own soul. So that's how the description is given, that all these different levels are operating right now but under covers. So they look different at different times. When we are able to pierce through these and see everything, it becomes clear how it's all operating. It does not mean that you will only see the mind when you go to the causal plane. Mind is working here. You won't say you see the soul when you go to Parbrahm or beyond mind. Soul is giving power to everything here, including your mind, body and senses. So that is why all these work in conjunction, hidden inside. These are costumes we are wearing for a good act. We are all actors on a stage. We are all players here. And these are costumes we are wearing for different parts that we have. They are different. The mind is a costume. We put it first and create time and space. The sensory systems, our astral body is another costume that breaks perception into different kind of perceptions. Seeing becomes separate from hearing. Hearing becomes separate from touching. This division is artificial because of the costume. And then we put it all together and have a personality in a solid body that can move around in a world that is solid and material. They are all working together. In the solid body, what we see outside is the solid world. In a physical body, you see a physical world. In an astral body, you see an astral world, not this. In a causal body, you see causal world. They are all different. Their characters are different. And you see some remarkable things which you can never see here. I gave example that in the astral body you can fly anywhere you like. That's great. You don't worry about weight loss. Don't take pills for weight loss. You have no weight. You can change your shape with will. Will exercise here. If you exercise your will here, that I want to be thin and lean, or I want to be fat. Not many people choose the second alternative here. But anyway, supposing whatever your choice is here, you go there, it automatically operates. This is an unusual experience. It can't happen here. It happens there. Then you can recall your name is not the name that your body is called for. You had several names and you adopted a different name for your astral self. You remember your past lives and you remember you had different names, different bodies. That's not possible right here. So, then the experience of time changes. Here, time flows according to clock in one direction. 1 hour has passed, 2 hours have passed, 15 minutes have passed. It's only one direction time is flowing, allowing the experience of future sitting somewhere, passing through present and going into the past. Only one direction. And we can't stop it. But in the astral plane, you can freeze time when you like. You like a particular thing, freeze it there. We used to play this game when we were children, and we were running around, somebody would shout, freeze, and everybody stood exactly where they were. Then say, unfreeze, and we would be able to walk. That was a game. But in the astral plane, that's the reality of experience, and people use it. In the causal plane, when you go to the higher plane, you are able to even go, there's no form of the body, because the perceptions are no longer divided. It's a single perception that can perceive anything totally, not separately. And then you are able to, so far as time is concerned, you're able to go backwards and forwards in time, as if it is a pathway like space. Like you're standing on a road, you can go backwards or forwards. That's on spatial movement. You have a complete freedom for movement on timeline. And that's a great experience. You don't have it here. So every experience that you get higher and higher is different and shows you the secret of how the lower experience has been created. That's remarkable. Then you can also see in the causal plane how the ideas are being made through concepts. That's another interesting thing for an investigator of what is concept and what is idea and what is a physical manifestation of that idea. If you look at that, the concept arises from the causal plane, ideas arise from the astral plane, and physical manifestation comes here. Let's say we take this chair I am sitting on, or all the chairs you are sitting on. They're different shapes of chairs. But the idea of a chair came from the astral plane, and that has caused all chairs to be made of all designs. Millions of chairs have been made. The idea of chair was one, something raised above the ground where you can sit. But where did the concept come that you need to sit up? From the causal plane. You can see these are not thoughts. These are the originators of how creation takes place. You can see the building blocks of this creation around you at all levels. What a great experience. So when we have these experiences, we discover in their purity what the mind can do, what sensory perceptions can do, what the body can do, what the soul can do. You go to the soul, you are above time and space. People say, what about the beginning? Now, I can't explain, there was no beginning there. Because beginning means time. What is the time there? That is the time in Sachkhand, our true home. Well, I think it's 3:40. Why 3:40? Because 3:40 is what you think is now. And there's eternal now there. Can you imagine an eternal now? People say live in the now here. And there's an eternal now going on. In no beginning, no middle, no end. How can you explain that? How can you describe what happens when you are in that state? The state contains a strange, blissful experience in which the thoughts have disappeared, mind has disappeared, but that blissful experience is still there with you in intense form. The intensity of that feeling cannot be duplicated here at all, even in the three levels of the mental planes. So these are experiences which you go through, you get tongue-tied. You can't speak. Now, of course, I'm speaking, so that means I haven't gone anywhere. There is a saying in India by a poet, mystic poet, Bhika. He says, Bhika baat agam ki kehn sunan mein nahi. Jo jane so kahe na. Jo kahe so jane nahi. He says that thing above the knowledge of these three worlds cannot be described. Those who try to describe it don't know it. And those who know it can't describe it. They're quiet. So you can put me in the right category now. These are all experiences which you can have and cannot describe. But we try to describe. We just try to describe in physical terms. I try to tell you the truth, we are liars. We're trying to say something is there which is not there. Because it cannot be described, we want to make pictures of it somehow. Maybe as an incentive, try something, and then you say, oh, this wasn't what I thought it was, but you can't tell what it is. Said Shiv Dayal Singh, Swamiji from Agra, who started the Radha Swami movement, he used to give nice satsangs, discourses. And he used to say, when you reach your true home, you will find tall trees, several miles long trees, all laden with diamonds and rubies and jewelry. Most of his audience was women, for that obvious reason. So he would use this as an example to say this valuable thing, very good thing, which you will enjoy. But there is no real way to describe it. So people have used, mystics have used so many allegories, so many symbolisms, so many parables. They have used these because there is no other way to even bring our interest to what is going on. And these are poor expressions about the experiences. So that is why the ultimate statement one can make is the proof of the pudding lies in the eating. Go and see it and then you can't tell. Then you enjoy it. So I am only saying that these different experiences, including questions and answers, they come from the mental region, but they traverse through the sensory perceptions and the physical body, and they can be experienced here. True love, coming from our true home, can be experienced here. Because if you keep the mind aside, you will have true love. You want to have true love in the physical body? While you're here, put your mind aside. Don't allow it to interfere. You'll experience true love. Because the soul is still working, which is true love. So that is why when we are not thinking about anything and we are putting the mind aside, we can experience the very things that are happening way beyond in our spiritual regions. So try to get the best benefit of this knowledge, this apparent knowledge here, that we can, through certain methods available in the physical body, like meditation, at certain points in the body itself that we can have these different experiences. So when you withdraw your attention to those points within, you can have unusual experiences below the eyes, through the energy centers. You can have unusual experiences of awareness above, behind and above the eyes. So if you experiment with three things, imagination, attention, and the power to concentrate your attention, that's all. And these are all gifted to us. These are gifts given to us as human beings, that we have these powers and we can put our attention where we like, concentrate it where we like. You go to a concert and you hear several musical instruments playing. You say, I like the drums. And you put your attention on the drums. It looks, the drums become louder, others become dimmer. You can't hear the others. Eventually you can only hear the drums if you just put your concentration on that particular attention on drums. It's the same thing here. When you put your attention on being inside the third eye center, the body being just around you, the head being just around you, and you are there, and put the attention on that, you will have the same experience which you have by going and listening to the drums, because then you will only have experience of your inner self and lose the awareness of the body. So these are all automatically working from different levels.